So today, as mentioned, I'm going to be talking about Hyperbolic. We are building the decentralized infrastructure AI cloud, and would love to chat a little bit more about what does this actually mean. So first off, before getting started into an explanation a little bit more in depth, I wanted to introduce the rest of the team and actually the founders. So we have two co-founders. On the left, you can see Dr. Jasper Zhang, who is our co-founder and CEO. So he's sort of like a math wizard. He won the math Chinese gold Olympiad, the gold medal at the Chinese Math Olympiad, and then went to Peking University, which is the best university in China, where he was consistently elected, ranking #1 student of the faculty. And he was actually solving very, very interesting problems that he went on to solve when he moved to the US to pursue his PhD at Berkeley in less than 2 years, making him the fastest ever to pursue a PhD in the history of Berkeley. He then went to work at Citadel Securities as a quant researcher and eventually at Avalanche as a senior blockchain researcher. And then we have Dr. Yuchen Jin, who's our co-founder and CTO. He's way more of the AI background profile. So he did his PhD at University of Washington in AI systems, and he used to be working for a company called Octo AI that was acquired by NVIDIA 6 months ago, roughly. And he was working on something called Apache TVM, which used to be back then before NVIDIA killed it, actually the #1 AI compiler project on Earth. I'm going to be talking about this a little bit later on. And in total, we're a team of 20 people, super lean. So we're also very fortunate to have amazing advisors. We have specifically Dr. Reynolds Shin, who's the co-founder and chief architect of Databricks. And then we have 3 amazing professors. First off, Professor Raluca Adapapa, who is maybe top 5 worldwide expert in computer security. She's helped us a lot into integrating confidential computing aspects such as TEs, as well as a bunch of other things. And then we have Prof. Siamak Moalemi, who's an amazing professor at Columbia Business School and who has helped us a lot around the tokenomics and is sort of like a legend in what he does. And then Prof. Yima, who's a legend in AI. So let's dig into Hyperbolic and what we do and how we actually differentiate from everyone else. So we have 4 core offerings. The first one being the GPU marketplace. And the idea here is that we're connecting idle GPU resources from all around the world, from different sources. It can be on-prem, it can be clouds, it can be coming from data centers, and soon from individual machines. Again, I think most of you are familiar with this. It's something that IONET has been doing, and it's something that a bunch of other companies have been working on. That being said, on top of this, we're also focusing on building AI services on top of the GPU orchestration layer. So it's really building one step at a time, a decentralized peer-to-peer cloud. So what we started working on is naturally inference, because for inference, you don't necessarily need tons of machines, like training job, for instance. And that's the reason why we're basically hosting amazing open source models, like the top 25 open source models, like DeepSeek and Llama and a bunch of other ones. 3 is proof of sampling. So I briefly mentioned the fact that we're going to be opening up to individual nodes, basically, in a permissionless way, third-party nodes to actually share their compute and their GPUs on Hyperbolic. And for that, we needed to have a verification mechanism that could live it up to the expectations of something that would be functional. So for that, there are some solutions that are existing, like OPML, ZKML, Consensus, but none of them are really practical. It's usually a major computational overhead, and that's the reason why we really created our own, and we'll be talking in a couple of slides about that. And then the latest one is our Adrian framework, which, again, I'll be talking more later on. So today, we're really excited to say that we're the most popular decentralized infrastructure cloud. We might need to update those numbers because every single day things are changing, but we're actually almost at 200K AI developers on Hyperbolic. We have amazing Web2 clients, universities like Stanford, Berkeley, NYU, Cornell, UCSD, and a bunch of other ones, but also very solid big Web2 companies like Quora, Hugging Face, Vercel, and a bunch of others that are coming in really, really soon. We're also powering top crypto AI projects. So we've been powering Eliza, Virtual, Solang, Arc, Zerobro, Near, Eigenlayer, and a bunch of other ones. So to go back on what I was explaining before, which is basically the GPU compute marketplace, we're, again, available at scale. This doesn't necessarily change from other projects. So it's just something that we all want to showcase, and it's sort of like a step of success. What is really interesting is that we can really cut the cost. So we can go up to like 75% cost reductions compared to like traditional clouds. And the last thing is again, as I mentioned, is like this permissionless access, and the fact that we created a new OS called Hyperdose, which is short for Hyperbolic Distributed Operating System, which is actually a really new invention. And because of this new invention and the fact that it's extremely robust and scalable based on federated Kubernetes, we are allowing anyone to share their compute in a very easy way and to actually make sure that we can have quality computes. If it's quality compute, it's going to go in either semi-trusted or trusted, and if it's not, it directly goes into untrusted, and the compute won't be listed in our marketplace, which is a very important aspect, actually. So around open source intelligence, this is more around inference. As I was saying, we're offering the latest models. We're trying to be very cognizant about this. The second thing is we're offering absolute privacy. So you can run your own models and keep your data yours, and eventually affordable again. I don't think this is necessarily an argument, to be completely frank, because the cost of inference is going down to zero either way. It's becoming a commodity. But at the end of the day, if we're able to offer the best models optimized at a very, very low cost, we're still going to be winning over the competitors. So it's still, at least today, an important point. So this is just a screenshot of one of our accomplishments. Is we are now the only Web3 projects that's providing serverless inference on Hugging Face. So I don't know for those of you who know about Hugging Face, but it's one of the biggest company in AI, and it's very, very interesting to be listed there because it's actually a really great distribution channel for us and for the space in general. This is another screenshot of what we've been doing on Quora. So we've been working very, very closely to Quora, especially with the founder, Adam D'Angelo, who used to be the CTO of Meta before, and is a very prominent figure in the Bay Area. Last but not least, in terms of screenshots, this is basically a huge thing that happened a couple of months ago. We are in a position where we're starting to become pretty locked in with developers and pretty popular with developers. And this is Andrej Karpathy. So for those of you who don't know, Andrej Karpathy used to be one of the founding team members of OpenAI, and he used to be the head of AI at Tesla. He's today top 5 most prominent AI figures worldwide. And he's now educating people on AI, and he made a video a couple months ago on YouTube, and he was saying that Hyperbolic is his favorite place on earth actually to use base models, which is a type of way of serving inference models. So going back on the Web3 side, as I was explaining a little bit earlier, we are at the end of, we needed to actually finish this black box of AI. And especially when you're doing it in a decentralized way and when you're accepting in a permissionless way third-party nodes. So that's the reason why we created our proof of sampling verification mechanism. Something that's basically, we can verify the outputs, but in 2 ways. We wanted to have a very high security, like what ZK promises, but also very high levels of scalability, what OP can do. And so it's actually very funny to be able to work on both, and this is what we've been pushing. So yeah, as it explains here, the way we're doing this is pretty easy. Basically, we have proof of sampling is going to be reducing a lot the overhead, the computational overhead compared to consensus. So as you know, there's going to be a 10x overhead, if it's reproduced by 10 nodes, and obviously reducing also compared to ZK because it's 100x to a 1000x overhead. And then in terms of scalability, we've been thinking about something similar, basically, to what OPML is doing. And again, we've had the genius coming in from our CEO in math to really focus on the right parameters for this pure Nash equilibrium to actually happen and really accomplish those goals. So in the agent framework, I didn't talk about this earlier, but the idea is that we are building an infrastructure, and because we're building an infrastructure, we are in a position where we can have a self-evolving intelligence. So what does this mean? We started creating an agent. We're at the very early steps of agents, but things are moving really fast. And what we've been doing so far is very fun. It's like we've been creating with the CDP kits from Coinbase. We've been working with Coinbase on that. We have injected some crypto funds in the wallet of our agent. And basically, our agent is able to call the API to check which compute is available on Hyperbolic and can actually rent out the GPU and literally live on Hyperbolic. It can ingest the specific data sets and become a more verticalized version of itself, like by doing fine-tuning on the GPU. It can become an operator on EigenLayer. It can become a validator on Ethereum. This is something we've done already, which is really, really fun. So yeah, so this is a really promising aspects and offering that we're giving. So economic layer. So I didn't mention this, but Hyperbolic is based in San Francisco, so really at the center, at the heart of everything that's happening in AI today. And most of the people in San Francisco or in the Bay Area in AI are not necessarily inclined towards Web3, but they have similar views. They have similar mindsets. They all talk about open source AI. They all talk about, giving access to people all around the world, developers all around the world, without the barriers of the huge margins taken by the clouds. And so one thing that we're very proud of at Hyperbolic is that because of this aspect of Web3, crypto plus AI, because we're going to be launching our token soon, is that we're in a position where we can actually help creators all around the world monetize, especially open source. The best example for that, there are two examples that I want to give. The first one is Meta. So far, before DeepSeek moments, Meta was the only company in the world that was actually capable of saying, okay, let's burn $15 billion to train and build Llama. We don't care because the return on investment will get back on our stock markets, which is a very, very rational decision. The problem, they have 1 billion users on Llama today. The problem is that DeepSeek arrived and changed the entire space because now people started realizing, okay, with just a few $1 million, I'm not saying it's easy, but a lot of founders all around the world can raise $2 to $3 million, can actually build a model that's a competitor to ChatGPT and a model that's competitor to Claude. And this is a tremendous thing that changed in the industry. And because of that, we're very, very proud to say that on Hyperbolic, it's something that you can do. It costs $5.5 million for DeepSeek, for training, apparently. If we made the calculation, if they did it on Hyperbolic, it would have cost them $2.1 million. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing is that we can help monetize open source, which we started doing with Black Forest Lab, the company that's behind Flux, which is really, really fun. So as sort of like a recap and summary of everything that I explained, this is our ecosystem architecture, which I think is very important to take a step back to understand things a little bit better. The idea is that, as you can see in the bottom, we have the decentralized orchestration layer that's coming from those different sources. It's coming from data centers, mining farms, individual machines, on-prem machines, etc. It's basically on top of that, we have the AI services ecosystem. So everything that's in purple is built by Hyperbolic, by the way. Everything that it's in white is companies that are building it, and we're partnering with them. So we started with the inference engine, with ImageGen, LLM, text-to-speech, video gen, etc., and then agent framework. But then there are other things that we're either going to be collaborating on, especially the decentralized training engine. A lot of amazing Web3 AI companies are working on that. And then we're going to be adding fine-tuning very, very soon. The second aspect of this is the verification layer. So in order to start grasping all of the different, like the Web3 world and start having all of those machines coming in, in a permissionless way into our marketplace, then basically we needed to have this verification layer that we're going to be implementing at some point, and then potentially launching our own blockchain, which can be an SP rollup on top of proof of sampling. The last step is privacy layer, which is basically trying to target even more Web2 AI companies thanks to TE. So this is actually my last slide. It's more around like the ecosystem map that we've had so far. We've had amazing research partners and clients. LMSys, Chatbot Arena is one of them. I don't know if you know about this website, but I highly recommend you to go there. It's the best, #1 evaluation service platform. Elon Musk, Sam Altman, Zuckerberg, they're all on this website consistently trying to make sure that their model is #1 on the leaderboard. And then data layer, training services, restaking like EigenLayer and a bunch of other ones, as well as the models that we've been trying to help monetize with revenue sharing, as I explained before. So yeah, thank you very much for listening. If you want to follow us, you can basically scan any of those QR codes, and I'll be here if you have any questions. Thank you very much.